Hello, everyone. Welcome to class. If you can hear me, type 2000 in the chat. Type 2000 in the chat if you can hear me. As our custom is at Learning Based Academy, we have to say our self affirmation. Every day and in every way, I am getting better and better, wiser and wiser, smarter and smarter, stronger and stronger, greater and greater, richer and richer, healthier and healthier. I am rich in knowledge. I am the best. So, we want to continue our class in mathematics, what we started for some time. We have been discussing angles. You have been learning angles. And this time, we'll be learning angles in parallel lines. Angles in parallel lines. Now, parallel lines are lines, they are straight lines that move towards the same direction and that can never meet. Parallel lines are straight lines that move towards the same direction. They are straight lines that move towards the same direction and that can never meet. They can never meet because they are moving towards the same direction. So examples of parallel lines are the lines that are in your exercise books. The horizontal lines in your exercise books are parallel lines, right? Now, these are parallel lines. Most times they show two arrows telling us where they are going to. These two parallel lines are going towards my right. Some parallel lines may be drawn this same way with their arrows going to the left. So they are straight lines going towards the same direction and they can never meet. Sometimes the parallel lines may be drawn this way. Two lines heading towards the same direction and that can never meet. Now let's talk about transversal. Transversal is a line that divides parallel lines. Transversal is a line that divides parallel lines. Please pay attention. Stop typing in the chat and pay attention. Now let us look at how a transversal looks like. When you have parallel lines and you also have a line that has crossed it or crossed the parallel lines or a line that has divided the parallel lines. That line that is crossing the parallel lines is called a transversal. All right. This line that is crossing the two parallel lines is called a transversal. So a transversal is a line that divides parallel lines. A transversal is a line that divides parallel lines. All right, so on the parallel lines, we have some angles that are formed. using parallel lines. These angles are called corresponding angles and alternate angles. Let us discuss the first type of angle, corresponding angles. These are angles that are at the same position. Corresponding angles are angles that are on the same position, on the same position of the parallel lines. Corresponding angles are angles that are on the same position of the parallel lines. If you don't listen, you will not understand. So make sure you pay full attention. The chat is locked for now. Pay full attention and stop typing. Now, you have to draw two lines. Make sure you are writing at Learning Base Academy. We write. All right, then this line crossing the two parallel lines is called the transversal. Now, when you have an angle formed right here, angle A and angle B, angle A and angle B are corresponding angles. It means if angle A is 20 degrees, angle B will also be 20 degrees. So if A is 20 degrees, if A is equal to 20 degrees, B is equal to 20 degrees. The reason they are corresponding angles. All right, they are corresponding angles. How can you identify corresponding angles? You look at the two parallel lines. Look at the position of the angles on the parallel lines. Okay, on the first parallel line, you have the the angle on top of the line on the right side. You have the angle on top of the line on the right side. Okay, now on the second parallel line, the angle that is corresponding must be on the same position. It must be at the same position on the second parallel line. If you look at angle A is on the right side of the transversal. It's on the right side and on top of the parallel line. Now you go to the second parallel line. Angle B is also on the right side on top of the parallel line. So when two angles are on the same or they are at the same position of parallel lines, they are corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are equal. Corresponding angles are equal. Corresponding angles are angles that appear at the same position of the parallel lines. Corresponding angles are angles that appear at the same position of the parallel lines. So if an angle is on the right side on top of the line of the first parallel line, now on the second parallel line, it will also be on the right side and on top of the line. Okay? So this is another example of corresponding angles. You can have your transversal this way. So if I have angle M and I have angle N, if you look at angle M is below the parallel line on the left side. It's below the parallel line on the left side of the transversal. That is the first parallel line 1. This is parallel line 2. Now, on the second parallel line, we have another angle below the parallel line on the left side of the transversal. So M and N are on the same position. So it means that angle M is equal to angle N. The reason is they are corresponding angles. Anytime you have questions on this, you are expected to write the reason. They are corresponding angles. So if M is equal to 85 degrees, N is also equal to 85 degrees because corresponding angles are equal. Corresponding angles are equal. Take note. Now I'm coming up with my first question. Make sure you pay attention. Make sure you are writing everything you can see on my screen. So it is question time. Pay attention. Find the missing angles in the diagram below. Find the missing angles in the diagram below. All right, so I believe everybody is done writing what is on my screen. Now let us find the missing angles in the diagram below. This is the diagram. We have the first parallel line and the second parallel line with the arrows facing the same side. Now right here I have X, and on the left side I have 122 degrees. Then I have to find the value of X and the value of Y. I need to find angle X and angle Y. So how do I go about this? The first thing I need to find is angle X before I'll be able to find angle Y. Now, when I look at the first parallel line, I can see that angle X and 122 degrees are on a straight line. You know, angles on a straight line will sum up to 180 degrees. Angles on a straight line will sum up to 180 degrees. So what I'll do to get my value for X is X plus 122 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Always give your reason in a bracket. The reason is they are angles on a straight line. The reason is they are angles on a straight line. So make X the subject of the formula. X is equal to 180 degrees minus 122 degrees. X is equal to 58 degrees. So the value of X here is 58 degrees. All right. So we've been able to get angle X. The reason is angles on a straight line. When you add 122 degrees plus 58 degrees, your answer will be 180 degrees. And sum of angles on a straight line is 180 degrees. Now, what will be the value of y? What will be the value of y? We need to find angle y. Now, when you look at angle X on the first parallel line, it's on the right side of the transversal and on top of the parallel line. Now, angle Y is also on the right side of the transversal and on top of the parallel line. Angle Y is on the same position of X. It is at the same position that X is. It means that angle Y is corresponding to X. So y is equal to angle x, and that's equal to 58 degrees. It means y is also equal to 58 degrees. What is the reason? Corresponding angles. So y is corresponding to x. Y is corresponding to X. You must always write the reason you're telling us that this angle is this. This is the reason I'm doing this, because they are two angles on a straight line. They are called adjacent angles. When two angles are lying beside each other, we call them adjacent angles. Now, 122 degrees and 58 degrees are called adjacent angles. They are also called supplementary angles because when you add them together, you get 180 degrees. I hope you understand. Please write down what you can see on my screen so we move on to the next question. Write down what you can see on my screen. All right, so moving on to another question. Moving on to another question on corresponding angle. Find angle Q in the diagram below. Find angle Q in the diagram below. So these are my two parallel lines. This time they are facing up, and this is the transversal. All right, this is the transversal. Now, for this side, this is angle Q right here. This is angle Q. I'll need to find angle Q. I have angle P right here. And for this side up here, I'm going to be using a white color to write the angle. The angle here is 75 degrees. Okay, the angle there is 75 degrees, and we've been asked to find angle Q. In this case, before we can find angle Q, we will have to find angle P, because angle Q is equal to P because they are corresponding, and we don't know angle P. So before we can get angle Q, we need to find angle P. So sometimes we may be given You may be given questions like this, all right? You may be given questions like this. So whenever you're being given questions like this, take note that you have to find an angle before another. You have to find an angle before the other. Now we have 75 degrees and angle P on a straight line. All right, 75 degrees and angle P are on a straight line. Since they are on a straight line and they are beside each other, they are supplementary angles because they sum up to 180 degrees. So that means P plus 75 degrees should give us 180 degrees. Reason, supplementary angles or angles on a straight line. Supplementary angles also give another reason, angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line, all right? So that will be P is equal to 180 degrees minus 75 degrees. That would be 105 degrees. Now that we have angle P, all right, we can find Q. You can see that angle P is below the transversal on the left. Angle Q is also below the transversal on the left. So they are on the same position. So our angle Q is also equal to P, and that is equal to 105 degrees. So the reason is that they are corresponding angles. They are corresponding angles. I hope you got that. They are corresponding angles. So Q is equal to 105 degrees. They are corresponding angles. Take note. Please write what you can see on my screen. Write down what you can see on my screen. All right, so that is what we call corresponding angles. If you're following me, type 50 in the chat. If you are following, type 50 in the chat, everyone. If you're following me and you understand what is being taught, type 50 in the chat. Type 50 in the chat. Awesome. Please only type when I ask you to type. If I don't ask you to type, do not type, so I don't close the chat. Now let's move on to alternate angles. So take note that corresponding angles are equal. So let's move on to alternate angles. alternate angles. Now, alternate angles are angles. All right, these are angles that are on opposite position. These are angles that are on opposite position of the parallel line. These are angles that are on opposite position of the parallel lines. It's very simple. What do we mean by opposite? The opposite of up is down. The opposite of left is right. The opposite of top is bottom. So when they say opposite position, that is, if one angle is on top of the parallel line, the other angle will be at the bottom of the second parallel line. All right. If one angle is on the left side of the transversal, the other angle will be on the right side of the transversal. So that is what we mean by opposite position. Now look at the two parallel lines moving towards the same direction with a transversal. Okay, so I have M right here as an angle. On the first parallel line, I have M. My M is on top of the parallel line and it is on the right side of the transversal. Now, if I'm going to have an alternate angle, I will go to the left side of the transversal and the bottom of the second parallel line, because on the first parallel line, M is on the top. M is at the top. It is on top of the first parallel line. It's on the right. So if I have top and right, on the second parallel line down here, I'll have to look for the bottom of the parallel line and the left side of the transversal. So this will be where I'm going to place the next angle that will be alternate to M. So angle n degrees is equal to m degrees. Alternate angles are equal, all right, because they are alternate angles. They are alternate angles. Alternate angles are angles that are on opposite position of the parallel lines. Alternate angles are equal. Take note. Alternate angles are equal. So if M is 100 degrees, N will also be 100 degrees because they are alternate to each other. They are not parallel to, they are not corresponding to each other. They are alternate to each other. Alternate angles are equal. Corresponding angles are equal. Take note. Let me draw another set of parallel lines that will show us alternate angles. All right, so alternate angles are equal. Let's see another example. So these are parallel lines. Then we can have 68 degrees here. If this 8 degrees, the color white angle, of course, is corresponding, but we need to look for the alternate angle. 68 degrees on the right side and on top of the parallel line. Go to the second parallel line on the left side at the bottom of the parallel line. So this angle will also be 68 degrees. That angle is alternate to 68 degrees. Now I'm going to create a blue angle. Now right here I have angle Y. Angle Y is alternate to another angle. Angle Y is on the left bottom of the line. Now you come back to the right of the second parallel line. Top of the line will be the angle that is alternate to Y. So I'll name this angle W. So Y is equal to W because they are alternate angles. They are alternate angles. All right. Y is equal to W because they are alternate angles. I hope you understand. Okay, let's now have examples. Find the missing angle in the diagrams below. Find the missing angles in the diagrams below. Okay, this is the first diagram and I'm having my two parallel lines. Those who are listening are those that will actually be the best, and those who are not listening won't be able to meet up, all right? So I ask you to listen attentively in class. Now, this angle is 110 degrees. You have to find this angle, angle H, and you also find angle K. Now, what is angle H and what is angle K? All right. What is angle H and what is angle K? If you look at it very well, you will see that angle H and 110 degrees are angles on a straight line. The straight line for them is the transversal. They are both lying down on the transversal line. If you turn it, if you try to turn it, you see that angle H and 110 degrees are beside each other, all right, on top of the transversal. So the transversal serves as the straight line for angle H and 110 degrees. So H plus 110 degrees will give us 180 degrees because they are angles on a straight line. They are angles on a straight line. So H will be equal to 180 minus 110. H is equal to 70 degrees. Now that we have gotten H, we can get K. What will K be? H is on the left. K is on the right. That is opposite. H is under the first parallel line. K is on top of the parallel line. So K is equal to H and H is equal to 70 degrees. The reason is they are alternate angles. Okay, K is alternate to H degrees. Okay, so which means K is also equal to 70 degrees. Alternate angles are equal. Alternate angles are equal. Take note. All right, I'm moving on to the second question. Now, you'll be the one to give me answer to this question. This question is for those who have been listening in the class. When you've been asked to find a particular angle, sometimes you may need to find one angle before finding the other. All right, so bringing in vertically opposite angle to play. Now let us look at this. This is 120 degrees. You need to find angle W and you also need to find angle Z. Okay, so what is angle W? When you're posting your answer in the chat, please type the reason beside it. So you're posting your name and your answer with the reason beside it. Don't just post. Make sure the reason for your answer, like I have been writing, is beside it. Don't forget that the things we have learned in the previous classes about angles at a point, angles on a straight line, reflex angles, obtuse angles, acute angles, we also show whenever we are solving angles on parallel lines. So take note. So what is angle W? What is angle W? It does not have to look like the example that I gave to you. Don't always look out for the exact example that you're being given to. The teacher can twist it. They can twist the question just to make sure, just to see if you have been listening or if you really understand. What is angle W? W is the first letter you're going to find before you even find angle Z. So W is the first letter. What is angle W? For those who have been typing and chatting in the chat, what is angle W? You have to tell me in figure. Adachidera, you have to tell me the figure for angle W. Don't forget that in the last classes, we learned vertically opposite angles, which are called X angles. Vertically opposite angles are called X angles. And the alternate angles are called Z angles. I forgot to say that. Alternate angles are called Z angles. That is why it is very important to listen attentively in the class. I'm seeing so many wrong answers. Why should you subtract 120 degrees from 180? There is no angle sitting beside 120 degrees. No angle is sitting beside 120 degrees. So why should we have the difference? There is no angle beside 120 degrees. So they are not adjacent angles. They are not supplementary angles. But okay, it means you were not paying attention to all you have been learning, right? For those who have been chatting and for those who are here to get the answer, I will take it that you have not been paying attention and you have not been studying properly. Okay, your brothers in the primary classes have been doing well, so always pay attention. Always pay attention. Now W is equal to 120 degrees. All right, this is because they are vertically opposite angles. All right, I taught you vertically opposite angles in the last live general live class. W and 120 degrees are angles that are formed when X is formed. They are angles that you find when the letter X is formed. You can see that the transversal and one of the parallel lines form X. So W degrees Z. W is on the right side below the parallel line, right side below the first parallel line. Then Z is on the left side on top of the parallel line. So Z is equal to W, and that's equal to 120 degrees. The reason is that they are alternate angles. They are alternate angles. So Z is also equal to 120 degrees because Z and W are alternate angles. Another reason is that Z is corresponding to that angle 120 degrees. Z is also a corresponding angle to angle 120 degrees. Z is corresponding. Z is corresponding to 120 degrees. Without the W, Z is the corresponding angle to 120 degrees. Now, for you to gain mastery of this subject or of this topic, I want you to come back to this YouTube channel, attend the class over and over again. If this is your first time coming to our YouTube channel, click on the subscribe button, like this class, and share this class with your friends so that they can get better at math. This is the end of our class tonight. I'll see you again next week, Monday. Have a wonderful time. Goodbye.